Hey everyone, this is Ham the Guinness Gamer here, bringing you my next installment for Myth of Empires, and today's video is going to be about farming. Now, get straight into it. You unlock farming at level 16 when you unlock the recipes for, well, the actual tech name, I suppose, is cultivation, and you unlock the recipes for a stone hoe, a crude planter, a wooden barrel, crude compost, and a stone mill, all of which you need to actually do any kind of farming whatsoever. So the first thing you need to do is you buy that tech, or you unlock that tech at level 16, and then you have to craft yourself some crude planters here. I refer to them as small crop plots because suppose because of arc. But yes, you need to craft yourself some crude planters, and what that takes is 50 wood ash, 40 branches, 30 sand, and 40 rubble to make one. Now, you can make a maximum of 5 of these per person, and you craft them personally, so you don't need a bench to actually craft them. So you'll see them in here. Where are we? There we are, in our crude planter. Alright, now once you craft the 5 of them, then you have to place them. And I already have one crafted here down just to save time on my hotbar, so I'm just gonna place this. You just place it as you would expect. You just place it somewhere useful for you on the ground. And what that does is, when that places, it brings up a number of stats. Now, another thing we need to do before we start to delve into this is we need to craft a hoe, and the hoe that you'll have unlocked at level 16 is a stone hoe. You craft that at a weapon bench, so you do. But as it is, I'm not going to show you me doing that. I am just going to use my bronze hoe. As you progress through the levels, like everything else, you unlock better hoes as you go through. We're about to unlock an iron hoe soon, and that will be a lot more efficient for the activities that I'm about to show you, the hoeing activities. So you'll craft one of them anyway at the weapon bench, and what you have to do first of all is you'll have to break in the soil a wee bit before you can plant anything in it. Essentially, you just hit it a couple of times and that'll be you. But you'll see there, one of the stats on the screen there for the crop plot is called soil porosity, which is the second stat there, and you've just seen it drop down. What that is that's essentially the amount of air that's in the soil, and to increase that, you want that always as high as possible, and to increase that, you hit it with the hoe. You'll see it here going back up to 100 once I hit it. Now, that will deteriorate over time. It also deteriorates when you put crops in, so that's something that needs done regularly to the soil while you're growing crops in it. One thing I would mention is to be careful when you are hitting the crop plots when you have crops in the crop plot, because if you can hit them with the hoe, and you can actually kill them. So what I tend to do is I tend to aim for the edge there, aim for the stone edge, and that'll hit it enough without actually harming any of the plants that are in it. You see some plants here and the one to the side. So that's the porosity, and you want to try and keep that as close to 100% as possible. Obviously, it goes down, but as long as it doesn't really hit 0 while the plants are growing, I think it tends to be okay. The next thing then that's noticeable, or I suppose the thing at the top of the list, is the moisture. That's just exactly what it sounds like. That's the water that's in the soil, and when you place the crop plot, you'll start with at the max, which will be 6,000 out of 6,000 for these crude planters, the small crop plots. Now, as you plant in that moisture will go down as the plants grab that water. Now, to replenish that, you have to craft barrels. Now, again, the barrel that you will start with will be just a basic wooden barrel, and you craft that with straw, rope, and branches in your personal crafting again. The one I'll be using here is a large barrel, which again, in the personal crafting, but it's just straw, rope, and hard wood, and that obviously holds a little bit more water than what the normal barrel does. So you craft a couple of those, and then you have to bring them to a water source to fill them. Now, you can put them, the best way to do that, just drag them into your hotbar. You see there at the bottom of the screen, number 7 is my empty barrels. Drag them into the hotbar, and then you run to a lake or whatever, and you just hit that empty barrel. I would hit the number 7 in this case, and it would fill the barrel for me while I'm in the water. As it happens, later on, you also unlock a well. you'll need to be a bit higher to irrigation there at level 34, and you unlock a well, and you're able to place a well beside your crop plots, which makes you not have to run to the river or run to the lake to actually collect water. Instead, you just go up to the well. As long as you have an empty barrel in your inventory, you hit a collect water, and it takes a minute, but he then grabs water. So you'll see the numbers on the hotbar down at the bottom here, number 7 and number 8. Number 7 is the empty barrel, number 8 is the full barrel. So once I collect water here again, you'll see 7 disappear down to none and 8 increase up to 2. So I now have water in those barrels, and I can run across and throw them onto the soil. Now this one, as I say, obviously is at its max, so I don't actually need to water it, but to do it you would just hit your hot bar there, and I'm hitting number 8 again, and that's emptying the full barrel over the crop plot, and the large barrels will increase the moisture by 500, so it's not too bad when you're talking about a 6,000 moisture crop plot. Now back to the well. This well can have an NPC stationed on it. I don't actually have one right now, but as soon as I'm done with this video I'm going to go get one and put them on it, and what that does is that will emanate water out, automatically irrigate water out into this circle that I'm just showing on the screen. So it's actually quite a big circle, much bigger than what I need right now for these small crop plots. But just the NPC will work there constantly as long as you keep them fed. Then it will put water out automatically into all these crop plots within that circle. Now that's water and porosity discussed. Last thing then is fertilizer. Now you see there, green manure, organic fertilizer, ash fertilizer. They're all 3 different types of fertilizer. Generally speaking, for the small crop plots, all you'll need to do is use crude compost, which again you unlock with that original cultivation tech there. So crude compost made out of wood ash and rotten meat. Alright, and I have some in my hotbar here as well, and essentially you just hit your hotbar and just hitting number 6 there, and he's throwing fertilizer over it. Now right now it's obviously wasted because the crop plot has started with max fertilizeness, if that's a word. So right now that's not actually doing anything, but if you look at green manure, if that was lower than 3,000, that 20 that I've just put onto that would increase up then to, would increase back up towards the 3,000 max. What you can unlock later on, and we're making some at the minute, but I haven't used a whole lot so far, is a couple of steps later after cultivation. You've got food extrusion here, and you can unlock basic green manure, basic ash fertilizer, and basic organic fertilizer, and those are the 3 different fertilizer types, and you can use them specifically then to increase each of those individual fertilizer amounts. Now for these small crop plots that's not overly as important, but what I'm going to move on to next is a slightly bigger what I'll still call a crop plot, but it's called common test farmland, and it has, you see there, 30,000 of each fertilizer on it. Obviously those individual ones would be more useful for the likes of this. Particularly I've only had one, I only built this farmland last night, and it all started at 30,000, started at their max, the fertilizer, just like the small crop plots do. But you can see I've had one harvest on this, and it used 12,000 of the green manure fertilizer, 4 or 5,000 of the organic, and less than 1,000 of the ash fertilizer. So you can see, depending on what crops you put in, presumably they will use different amounts of each individual fertilizer, and then that's why you will want to balance out. And that's why we want to use specific fertilizers to then balance them back up to 30,000 without wasting. Also, each of the individual fertilizer give you a lot more than this shitty crude compost just gives you 10 of each. I would be here all day trying to throw this over here to try and get that 19,000 green manure back up to 30,000. 10 at a time. No, thank you. So that's fertilizer, water, and porosity. The higher you keep all of these, and the more you take care, ultimately the more you take care of the plants with those 3 different stats, 3 stats being the fertilizer, the water, and the porosity, then the better a harvest you'll get and the better yield you will get. But for now, back to the small crop plot. I am going to place some seeds now in this one. Because this one's just placed, it is ready to plant in. So I'm going to place some low quality rice, and what that'll do is they will suck away at the porosity and the fertilizer and the moisture in that crop plot. But ultimately, after time, they will grow. You'll see it gives you a percentage growth here, and they will grow to 100%. And once they're 100%, here's a, well, that's not quite ready for harvesting yet. Here's some more fully grown plants. You will just be able to go up to them and hit E, and you will harvest the crop then from the crop plot. These small crop plots can hold four plants per crop plot. And then when you harvest them, you'll get the plants, but you will also get more seeds. So when I harvest this flax, I will get low quality flax, and I will then get seeds. Now, the majority of the seeds I will get will be low quality flaxseed, but there's also a chance then that you get seeds for an increased quality. So the next quality up is just common, I think just common quality flax. So there's a chance then that I will get some seeds, some common quality flax seeds, and some common quality, what did I just plant here, rice seeds, as well as the low quality stuff. And then what you do then, you then replant those common quality seeds to try and get common quality crops, but you cannot actually plant the common quality stuff in these crude planters. These can only take the low quality stuff, which makes sense because they're the lowest, they're crude planters. But you can then place common quality seeds into this common test farmland. Now, to unlock this common test farmland, this is actually a guild tech. Alright, so you go to guild and you go across your guild tech, and you'll see it here right in the middle of the page. Common test farmland, level 20. Costs a bit of gold coins and activity points. But you unlock that, and then you're able to craft it. Now you actually craft this common farmland in the construction bench. You'll need to have a construction bench built. To craft it there, it'll cost you 1000 grass, 500 wood ash, 160 clay, 80 hardwood, 200 sand, and 100 vegetable oil. Now the vegetable oil is got by mushing down soybeans. So there's a bit of crafting needed in that, but ultimately, where's this soybean? Oh, yeah, they're vegetable oil. There we go. Oil made from vegetables. So you mush down soybeans in the stone mill. And again, those other fertilizers, as I was talking about earlier, they all need a stone mill to make them. And they use different levels of ingredients, so they do. But you get the vegetable oil anyway, grind down soybeans, and then you will craft this common test farmland, and then you come along and you find a nice flat space to place it down on. Now the placement of it is a wee bit tricky. It's sort of, when you originally put it down, it orientates itself to a specific direction. I don't know what direction it is, but say it has to be facing north, but only once you try to place it then can you pivot it round by one of the corners, by the corner that you actually place it by, and then you can turn it. It's quite tricky. You'll only really understand what I'm talking about when you try and place it, but it's just a bit awkward to try and get it placed nice and flat. This took me a lot longer than what I'm willing to admit to get this kind of in line with this wall here. But you'll place it anyway, and it will be populated with its own set of stats. And again, it's the exact same stats I was talking about before, but just in a lot higher numbers. So this one here, the soil porosity as well, you'll notice takes a lot longer to go up when you're hitting it with a hoe. So I'm hitting this with a hoe just while I'm talking here to bring this up. Ultimately, I want this up at 100%. I can also then drop my full barrel on it to get the moisture up by another 500. So it is a bit grindy. There's no doubt about it. It takes a bit of time. It takes a bit of time to get the porosity up, takes a bit of time to get the moisture up, and then the manure as well. Thankfully it starts with 30,000, so my next harvest I put in here still probably won't use all of these fertilizers, but I am going to, off camera, I'm going to increase those as well. So I'll be increasing all of this before back up to 100 or 100%, should I say. 100% porosity, 100% moisture, and 100% of fertilizers before I plant anything in it, because I'm actually going to try and plant a higher level of crop in it and see if I can get some higher level, high quality goods. There's like, from what I've seen so far, there's low quality, then common quality, then high quality, then premium quality. I think I've seen as well. We're getting some of those now as well. So there's a hierarchy basically of, you'll start off in the small crop plots, planting only your low quality stuff. Eventually you'll get enough common quality seeds where you'll want a better field, and you'll probably look into placing one of these, and you'll place those common seeds in here, harvest them, place them, harvest them, place them, harvest them, and eventually your seeds will increase in quality, and you'll get more and more each time. The return rate of the seed is quite good. It's quite healthy. So it's a bit grindy, but it's not crazy grindy. So essentially that's it. You'll end up just rinsing and repeating, harvesting, planting, hoeing, fertilizing, heaving water about. The quicker you get the well, the better. Particularly if you're not built near water, like we're right on the shore of a lake here. You can't see it, but before we had the wells, it wasn't too bad. We didn't have too far to run. But if you're not near lakes or near rivers or anything, this would be terrible, because you can only carry so many barrels at once, and it takes them a while to actually refill, and then you have to run them back to the base and then keep doing that. That would just be another grinding element in an already fairly grindy part of the game. However, as always, I do enjoy a bit of a grind, and the rewards are pretty good, because the crops they're obviously used for food, but they're also used for different crafting activities too, so they do come in handy. Like, we're producing a lot of crops, but we're using them every bit as quick, because we need them for all different sorts of professions. One last thing I didn't actually mention there is that this common test farmland, it's actually got a 5x3 kind of, difficult to describe it. When you're putting it down, it comes up in boxes, and you can put it down at any size, but this is the maximum size. So if you're placing it and you're using the resources on it, you might try and get it to be 5x3 squares to come down as, or you'll have wasted some space, because that 5x3 then allows you 60 different places for crops. So it takes a lot more work, a lot more hoeing, a lot more moisture, and a lot more fertilizer than the smaller crop plots, but obviously it produces a whole lot more crops for you, and it also allows you to produce the more higher quality crops. So that's, a reason why ultimately you would try and get to this pretty quickly. I will say this is just the stage we're at now, there are more common farmlands available later. So there's fertile test farmland level 50, and I would imagine it will be the same thing again, except bigger and more health, more manure, more fertilizer, should I say, more water, and more, well, the porosity will still be 100%, I'm sure. More effort, but I'm sure they will then produce a whole lot more crops. Obviously there has to be a reward for all the extra grindiness that it'll cause. Other than that though, I think I've more or less covered everything, or at least everything I've learned so far about farming in Myth of Empires. It is definitely a fun part of the game, but as I say, fairly grindy, and well, that's not for everybody, but for me, I am enjoying it, and I look forward to, I'm enjoying the farming, but I'm also enjoying the game in general. So I look forward to doing more videos in the future. I'm going to do a breakdown of different segments, like this farming segment, because I find the game has so much in it, and there's not actually that much information out there on it, at least not dated this year, dated in 2024. So if you've liked this, give me a subscribe, like the video, leave any comments if you want. You know the drill. But for now, thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye and good luck.